So yesterday's adventures were the same exact thing. We were burning, piles for the people that got burn permits here. But, yesterday morning was one of the truly sensational times that you kind of reflect, and that was working with all the volunteers. They might be the unsung hero, but they are champions in our minds as well. They help out, they volunteer their time, and they're so gracious, so kind, and sometimes you just got to stop and you got to say thank you. To people like Mattress Mac, Lance, I've seen Suncoast and Carbach passing out ice, and the men out here that are working machineries and chainsaw, and then the women out here that are passing out food and the caring and nurturing that they all do. All this is what makes a community come back alive. Some of the major instances that stood out is, we pulled into a gas station yesterday, and a volunteer was there, and she needed some help, taking some supplies from one location to another. And these ladies had, a list of supplies that, Sandy Creek needed, between diapers and Clorox and, other miscellaneous items that were truly needed. And what she said was, this would have taken us all day to get over there. And, just for us help pitching in, getting, the ball rolling, helping transport, it only took us a couple hours. So when those people needed that first thing that morning, they already had it and it was ready to roll. Another thing that caught our eye was, we drive this big disaster relief truck. It's a high water rescue, it can transport a lot of people, but it's kind of like a beacon that drives through this city. When you drive by, people honk and they wave and they throw up their peace signs and their do signs, and it's just great that we could be a beacon of hope, that they know that there's all these people from outside of all of these counties. And sometimes when you're pulling in, and it feels like the cavalry's just arrived.